Thank you, Mheshimiwa Ndindi. Now we'll give Mheshimiwa Mboni, Mheshimiwa Makilap.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Chairman. And thank you, Honorable Ndinyoro. I think you have given us a lot of insights, and to be very sincere, we need to call some of these institutions so that we can clarify some of the issues we are raising, and which some of us have been concerned. According to you, we are losing 100 billion from these transactions. And based on that, that means the valuation of these Safaricom is 2 trillion, based on 50% sale. And therefore, really, you have not really given us the method of valuation which is bringing you to 300 billion. Because you can either use market valuation or asset valuation of the company. Because, for example, this hotel, the value of this hotel may be 2 billion, for example. But in terms of financial value and whatever it's making, it may be lower than that. So I think it's important to give us the method which you are using. Secondly, I don't think we are losing through this transaction the way you are putting it, because there was a discount which was given by Communication Authority on the licenses, and therefore we lost 100 billion. And the way you are putting it is like all these ones was geared towards selling Safaricom, and therefore we also lost 100 billion. So we are talking about 200 billion, which we have lost through all this process. So maybe you need to clarify that. You did mention that some of the people who are negotiating were not part of the process in your presentation. I looked at it very well. And I was wondering, where and when do transaction advisors come in? Were they not part of this transaction negotiations? Because transaction officer is supposed to lead and guide on transaction and negotiation of that. Mheshimiwa Ndindi, you did mention Mobitelea, and it is an issue which has been people have been trying to avoid. I raised it, I think, with I think Treasury or another company or somebody, and nobody is coming out to tell us where does Mobitelea share stand in this, because even Mobitelea that time it owned 5% of Safaricom, assuming Vodacom also bought the 5%. And you know, we are made to understand they have 40%. Now suppose they bought 5%, and now they are buying another 15%. Therefore, we are talking about a controlling shareholding by Vodacom of 60%. So maybe you can tell us what happened to this share, because I think you have a lot of insights. And who bought the 5% from Australia, so that at least you can be able to make some of these decisions as a committee. Otherwise, I'm very happy about this presentation, and it has given me a lot of insights on this committee. If we actually follow this, then we can be able to come up with a conclusive understanding and decision on this matter. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa Mboni. Mheshimiwa Makilap.
Thank you, Chairman. I've listened very carefully to the presentation done by Honorable Ndindi. And I think, Chairman, whenever we go out and listen to Kenyans as members of Parliament, we principally look at things objectively rather than having a bad view of where we come politically, how we support politically. For me, looking at objectively and learning some of the things that we needed to understand before we go out for public consultation and even finally discuss it. So I have learned a lot of new things through his presentation. Number one, using his own presentation, page 4, what is called condition precedents. And in his communication, it says communication authority regularly and impartially extended condition precedent to the buyer. I believe this buyer is whatever, which has resulted in losses of around 80 billion on renewable licenses. My question to you, Nyoro, is could we therefore then, or you have evidence to table before this committee, these minutes of extension, who gave them the minutes of extension, and for what purpose? Is it connected to the sale of 15%? It means there is a lot who extend for this condition to votable. It means there was some boardroom decision that for us to sell this 15%, there is some underlying waivers which the Kenyan government, through the taxpayers, will lose about 80 billion. We need evidence from you, and it may even ask the chairman us again to call CEO who appeared before us here yesterday, that this give us evidence of boardroom decisions that led to this loss of money through giving waivers to what is called network facility providers for 15 to 25 years. These are serious matter, Ndindi Nyoro, that it may even negate the entire process of, because it will reduce the revenue that we are thinking of raising about 204 billion. Because if there are these concessions, it would be a very bad deal. And then you also say in number 12, in a nutshell, the country has lost. When you say has lost, it means already gone. Revenue to over 70 billion. You know, you talked about 100, but in your presentation, in your own words here, has lost to over 70 billion on conditions precedent alone. That means from the sale, the expected sale of 15%, which you are intending to raise 2 or 4 billion, if you subtract 70 billion, you'll remain with around 135 billion. So giving the whole sale to look like a scam or something that does not give us the correct fund. So way forward on this matter. If you have evidence, table before this committee. If you don't have evidence, then we need to seek clarification from CA to give us this particular matter. 2, there's something that you skipped on Ethiopian market. Does the shareholding of Safaricom here in Kenya different from the franchise that is being, do you have some different shareholders of Safaricom Ethiopia and Safaricom Kenya? These are mind-boggling questions that we need to understand, so that are we selling therefore shares in Safaricom Kenya, or are we selling this 15% including the shareholding in Ethiopia? This is something that you raised here, and it requires some understanding. Again, in page 5, just like what my colleague has said about Mokitelea. If you are able, or this is something that we can Google, that at the time of listing Safaricom, the shareholding of government was 35. The shareholding of Vodacom was 35. And at the time of what is called this paper that we have before us, it is 40. At what stage? And then we are assuming that This 5% has been acquired by Vodacom. When did this happen? When did this transaction of acquiring 5%? Because the sessional paper that we have is that Vodacom already owns 40. At what stage was 5% acquired by Vodacom? If you have evidence of at a time when Vodacom decided to buy Mopitelea, then it is also good for this committee to have it, because it means this Vodacom is a big animal that continues to acquire other people inside, small shareholders, and they may even acquire anybody else remaining. And it is a foreign franchise. I'm using your notes very carefully. I don't want to go outside this. Lastly, Chairman, tell us something about, you know, this sessional paper has a timeline that says it takes 28 days from sitting of Parliament. It means if we start sitting on 4th, by 28, if we shall not, by 4th of March, if we shall not have concluded, it is deemed to have approved itself. And therefore, who will take the shares, the dividends? You know, the government may lose dividends to Vodacom that has worked for the whole year, and when it is left with 10 days, the shares changes hands to someone else. Can you tell us about this shareholding, the dividends of the current fiscal year of Safaricom, how it will go? Because how can I lose all the milk of my cow, which I've worked for it for the whole year, just at the wee hours of exchange? Tell us something. You did not say something about it. And finally, tell us something about when Safaricom PLC is being sold, and when the shares, 15% shares of Safaricom is being sold, out as the entire franchise, the value which was at the 2021, 1.8 trillion, how will this sale affect the assets of the entire ownership of Safaricom when it will be owned by a foreigner at 55%? Thank you, Chair.